Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. Well, we've got Mayor Freddie O'Connell locked in our studio for the next 35 minutes, and we're already talking about the questions that are coming in on the phones. The phone number is 615-760-2000. This is an Ask the Mayor episode. And while I got like 10 pages of questions here, we really want to know what you want to ask the mayor. What do you want to know about? What does he need to know about? Again, call us on air, 615-760-2000. And if you're watching the YouTube live stream at the Nashville Public Radio YouTube page, we see you. You can also just drop a comment there, and we'll try to work it in. I'll start anyway with a question of mine, and then we'll move to the phones. This week, the Tennessee Supreme Court gave your transit plan kind of a green light. A group led by former council member Emily Evans was challenging the referendum last year, but failed to convince the court to stop the plan from taking effect. So does that mean it's kind of full steam ahead on this $3 billion transit plan?
100%, Blake, and this was huge and decisive news for us as a city. I think it's great to be able to fight for things that people have stood up by the hundreds of thousands and said we not only want, but know we need, which is the case with Choose How You Move, our transit improvement program. We are actively involved in this. We started being able to get the funding in the door starting in April of this year. We hit the ground running. I hope that you and your listeners have started to see the signs of us being shovel ready and getting right to work. We had exciting service changes from WeGo this summer already with July, starting new frequencies that we just haven't seen before on core routes like the number 6 Lebanon Pike. And then we also have had an ability to expand paratransit service, add basically ride share for last mile with a program called WeGo Link expanding.
Oh, is that for when folks are pretty far from a bus line?
Yep. They can basically take Uber or a couple of other services to get to the bus line, keep their overall cost of a trip down, and still make use of transit for that. So,
and that's from this half-penny tax increase.
So
to
the expansion was part of the plan. They had already had a pilot in effect, but it was a few select zip codes, and this allows us to expand that entire program countywide. Similarly, that access on demand expansion is a big deal. And then more recently, this was always designed to be a both and. WeGo and NDOT, our Nashville Department of Transportation, are kind of implementing independently things in their originally scheduled programs. And so we just had some exciting news, too, from WeGo, where they are now able to allow for tap to pay. So if you don't have your quick ticket, if you didn't carry cash, you can swipe your phone.
You don't need a special card. You just tap your card.
And as we've gone to other cities, I will say it makes using transit in any city much easier when you can just go on and confidently pay with something that you're used to using everywhere you go. So lots of improvements, hit the ground running. We welcome Sabrina Sussman to our team as Chief Program Officer. And I think it's also a great example of we're out there fighting every day for the things that we know Nashvillians need. And so this is a great, again, decisive victory for the city.
Is there like a transformational moment on the horizon? I mean, I think there's lots of miles of sidewalks in the works, improving synchronization of stoplights. But for those who are not remembering what is in this plan, we're not talking about light rail coming anymore, right?
We looked at it, and just from a cost per mile basis on very popular corridors like a route to the airport, if it's $300 million per mile, hard to justify. But we do think that we will have, if you go look at, anybody can go look at the entire program, nashville.gov/transit, you will see what we call all access corridors. That's where you'll get an entire corridor treatment, where a stretch of road like Gallatin and Maine, Dickerson, Nolensville, they'll get treatments for sidewalks, and kind of the entire corridor will start to have safer, more modern intersections with those traffic signals. But you might also see things that look more like transit stations that are ultimately served by a higher capacity mode that we've called bus rapid transit is usually the name for it. But it's basically like a train on rubber wheels, and that's kind of the standard we're going to be able to achieve given the overall scope of the program. That you won't see that probably for a few more years, but the idea was in year one, you're going to see changes. In year two, you'll see changes that build on those year one changes. By year 5, the hope is to have more green lights available from having 50% of the traffic signals upgraded and modernized. So that, again, the goal there is to have fewer of us sitting at red lights when no cars are coming the other way.
Well, it sounds like something we'd want to do. Let's go to some infrastructure questions on the phone. Patty, you're on. This is Nashville. Okay, I think it may be your connection, Patty. We'll come back to you if you get back, but we'll go back.
You have me now.
Oh, there we
Patty,
go.
Yeah,
Yep.
we got you. Go. You're on loud and clear. Go ahead.
Sorry, thank you. Mayor O'Connell, I'm curious to know why Nashville continues to create bike lanes that hardly anyone, especially outside of the core of the city, uses. And secondly, why do we erect the unsightly white plastic spikes that do not protect the bike riders?
Patty,
Thank
are you talking about?
for taking my call?
Are you talking about those kind of like
The flex
4 foot
bollards.
tall
I know
flex
exactly what
okay,
she's
yeah.
talking
All right,
about.
Mayor's
Yeah.
got you. Here we go.
Yeah, Patty, thank you for the call. It's a good question. I would definitely tell you to go take a look. We've had for years a strategic plan for sidewalks and bikeways called Walk and Bike. I know the Nashville Department of Transportation, I think, I'll say it this way, I think there's been a tendency to look at anything in that plan that you might consider low-hanging fruit, even if it didn't necessarily seem like it was adding strategic value. So if you had a repaving project somewhere in the outskirts of the county and it said, okay, we should do this, you may see that kind of implementation happen. What I've encouraged the department to really focus on now, especially now that we have Choose How You Move, is really look at connectivity. And sometimes that means you're going to move slower because there's a more complicated part of the city. But to your point, I think these routes need to be connected in places where they're likeliest to be used. So my hope is we're going to continue to focus on that. The flex posts are controversial. I think what I've heard from cyclists who want to be riding more regularly is that it is better than just paint on the road. But I think there are also some other low-cost scenarios out there. We've seen that. But I will tell you, anytime you're kind of trying to create space in where you've got just a certain number of feet from curb to curb, the goal is always to allow as many people as possible to use it safely. And I think one of the reasons why you don't see as many people riding as would like to is because we haven't always succeeded in creating those connections. And so we're going to try to keep motorists being able to drive safely and have traffic flow well, but we're also going to try to create those connected opportunities where people can take better advantage of it. And I don't know. We just became full members of an organization called the National Association of Transportation County Officials, and they've got a really good set of implementation guides. And my hope is that we elevate our standards so we don't do designs that are unsightly and, frankly, not as safe as the things we know are possible. So we've got some work to do, and we're working on improvements to infrastructure all day, every day. The goal is Vision Zero. We want our roadways to be safe for motorists, pedestrians, cyclists, transit users, and so we're focused on that.
All right, Patty, thanks for your question. We're going to go back to the phones. Manane, tell me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but you're on This is Nashville.
Hey, it's Manon, rhymes with
Manon.
Yes, sir. How's it going, Mr. Mayor?
What's up, Manon Ball?
Thank you again. Hey, I want to thank you for the time when, like you were speaking, the frequency improvements that have already gone in have made life a lot easier. Today, NDOT removed public benches along KVB, while just this year, Council amended the DTC to require seating along the public right-of-way. Why did NDOT remove all the seating on KVB today?
Yeah, man, and that's a really interesting question because Alex Apple and I were talking about, we were just over there last Friday as we traveled down KVB to an event on Murfreesboro, and I saw the benches out there, and I know there's already been some previous discussion that I'm going to have to check with NDOT about what is going on there because we just were by the benches less than a week ago. So not sure, and I'll have to dig into it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for bringing the question. A relevant comment from our YouTube audience for those who are watching the stream, reference to Patty's call from earlier about bike lanes. They asked, please don't stop building lanes and making protected lanes until we hit critical mass and it's safe to ride a bike for an entire trip. They'll stay empty, but we're almost there. Is there something to that, Mayor?
Well, so yeah, that's why I've encouraged NDOT to focus on actual connectivity. I think having a series of disconnected bikeways that really don't allow people to ride safely from point A to point B, especially if it isn't part of a consistent pattern of progress. We've got a Vision Zero Advisory Committee. We have a Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. We do now have Choose How You Move that gives us some predictability of funding for key infrastructure programs. And again, our goal is to have safe roadways so that we're limiting conflict, limiting crashes, allowing people to do exactly what the entire funded program is called, which is to let people choose how they move.
We're going to take a quick call from Vicky. You're on This is Nashville.
Yes. Can you hear me?
We
yes.
can.
Hi, Vicky.
Okay. I just had a question. You alluded to it a minute ago, but those smart traffic lights that we voted for.
Yep.
And you said 5 years. I thought they were going to go into effect quicker than that.
Oh, they are. We're 5-year mark is when we think we'll have about half of the 600 signalized intersections covered. So we're going to start this year. Our ITS department is already laying fiber for those. We already have a real-time traffic management center that NDOT's got stood up ready to do this. We think we'll be able to get some off the ground. We had some initial grant funding even before Choose How You Move got underway that I think will help in the urban core. So no, that's very much a year-by-year progress, and we just can't do all 600 intersections in the first 5 years.
Okay. Do we have any working now?
That's a great question. I don't know if we have any that I'm actually asking NDOT as a part of Choose How You Move to give us a 6-month look ahead now. And so we're trying to get sidewalks and signals. I think the first few months here, we've been laying fiber. I did just get an update this week from our Information Technology Services Department about the fiber that's going to support the signals so that we can basically run network so that all the data that they're capturing about traffic flow is coming back to the traffic management center. I'm not sure which intersections may already have the smarter signals, but we should have some online before the end of the year.
All right, excellent.
Okay,
Vicky,
you. I'll
Vicky,
check back with you in a year.
Yeah, no, you check back with us in maybe 6 months, and we'll see where we are.
all right, Vicky.
Okay.
And you can always follow that progress too. Again, Nashville.gov/transit is where the program is, and we're going to try to keep updates there.
Okay.
Great.
Great. Thanks.
So many calls today. If you'd like to join the queue, it's 615-760-2000. Mark, you're on with the mayor on This is Nashville.
Hey, Freddie?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can, Mark.
Yeah, I was curious. Just a couple things. If you want to get involved with a board, a metro board, any kind of a board like historical or zoning or whatever.
Yep.
I know there's a lot of boards. How do you do that? What's the process for doing that?
Well, one of the best things you can do if you are interested is just visit Nashville.gov, hop over to the Boards and Commission page. You'll see it. You can either search for it or look for it up top under the government section. We have a form there that you can submit your interest. It's great because you can even let us know which of the many boards and commissions, as you identified, there are a lot, which that you might be interested in. And our office works with that. One other great way to do it is let your district council member know. I know when I was a district council member, I used to work with our community members and worked very closely with the mayor's office back when I was on council to put qualified nominees up for consideration, and we had some good success. And so I'll say from our standpoint, we do try to take a look at the entire county and make sure we've got a good geographic representation as best we can on boards and commissions. And we also try to look at interests and expertise. We also look at what various boards' needs are in terms of skills from, sometimes it's good. We hear from departments that they interact with that you might have a need for legal, accounting, marketing. And so it's good to be able to identify your skill sets and your interests, and we'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
Mark,
One
thanks.
other question. This is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead, Mark.
Just a personal thing. I play pickleball,
Yep.
and I wish that Metro, like for example, the new tennis courts behind Hillsborough High School.
Yep.
I wish they would put pickleball lines there.
You know,
to make it. Yeah,
I'll say Parks has come a long way on this front, and I'm over at Sportsplex on a pretty regular basis. I know they've done some conversion, and it's just a tough one because I think this is one where we've still got a lot of regular tennis players out there that still want to keep access to those courts, and then we have the new pickleball enthusiasts have come right alongside them. So I guess the good news is we see a lot of demand for recreational activities in parks, and we're trying to put the resources in parks to let more of that happen. So, I mean, again, I think if you go to nashville.gov/parks, you can find all of those locations pretty conveniently, and we're trying to keep up with demand for all the different things and make sure that the park system supports as many forms of recreation as we can.
Yeah, those tennis players, though, they're going to have opinions about this. So
I will
careful.
say there's a rivalry. I will say, Mark, it's a little more controversial when we convert a tennis court to pickleball. So we try to find spaces for both and as often as we can.
All right, we're going to squeeze in one more call before our break. Ezra in Bellevue, you're on This Is Nashville.
Hello.
Hey, Ezra.
Hey, how you doing? I had a question. Well, not really a question, but I was wondering if you could speak more to the community-focused grocer network that you guys put out a request for information on. Just sort of a brief rundown of, what you're trying to do, and also what sort of information or support you'd like to get from either organizations or individuals.
Yeah, it's a great question. Our economic and community development team, led by Jamari Brown, we had a really talented intern join us for most of this year, and they worked up an RFI for food security, and it really is looking at the problem of food deserts comprehensively, and we are soliciting information with the hopes that among the various possibilities from co-ops, and we know there have been a couple different co-op projects that have had some success, limited success in some ways. We know there are creative programs like Napier Kitchen Table that work on produce availability. We know that in addition to the Nashville Farmers Market, there are a lot of community farmers markets. We've kind of got some mobile options there, but it doesn't always offer comprehensive food security, even when you combine it with what Metro Schools is offering from a nutrition basis, and in times when school is out of session and in session when Metro Social Services is active. So we're looking at how can we offer fresh fruits and vegetables, protein, all the things that everybody needs to just have basic quality of life. And so this RFI is a solicitation for models that may not be in play in Nashville yet. And so definitely encourage people to jump on. The easiest way to look for it is just nashville.gov/mayor. You can again search on nashville.gov for food security and go find it. But we would love to continue getting information out there. I've had already a couple people share good comprehensive looks at some things that have worked in other cities, or we're looking at what would it look like to have grocery partners come in where you could possibly have kind of a multi-use scenario that may help resolve some of the rooftop problem that I think grocery stores regularly look at to figure out where they're going to site themselves. So we're in the kind of information gathering phase, and hopefully we're going to come back out with proposals based on what we find that involve probably a mix of for-profit and nonprofit partners.
Ezra, thanks for the call. And if you'd like to join the queue, the number is 615-760-2000. We're on with Mayor Freddie O'Connell. It is Ask the Mayor. We need to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll take more of your calls. Also talk a little bit about the tunnel that is planned between downtown and the Nashville airport. Stay with us. This is Nashville.
Freddie is a man of class. We want Freddie for a leader. All stay to raise your champagne glass. We want Freddie for a leader. Freddie is a man.
Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. It's Ask the Mayor on the show today. We've got 15 minutes left with Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell here to take your questions, and they're coming in hot. Join us on the air at 615-760-2000. You can also drop something in the chat on the YouTube live stream. If you're watching video from here in the studio, that's youtube.com/@WPLN. In fact, got one from YouTube. Mr. Mayor, this is Andy Van Roon, says, is there any regulation against Nashville having its own lottery? If we had a daily lottery of $2, we could raise between 3 and 7 million years for STEAM education, or STEAM Nashville, rather. A lottery in Nashville?
There is pretty significant state-based regulation for all forms of gambling. Probably Andy is familiar with how they, for years there was discussion of what has now become the Tennessee Lottery. For a long time, Tennessee didn't have any kind of legal gambling. And so the state lottery definitely does raise money for public education. It's controversial, though, because they market it. There are a lot of studies about the impact on who buys lottery tickets, whether it has connections to gambling addiction. More recently, they've relaxed rules on sports betting. And so you've seen the advent of a lot of sports betting scenarios in Tennessee. But no, at a local level, we are not authorized to run something that would be kind of a local fundraising option in that way.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Andy Van Roon, for the question. We'll go straight to the phones. We're going to take a couple questions on the big talker of the town, as the mayor confessed on his way in today, that you go anywhere in town, people are asking about the tunnel that is proposed between downtown and the Nashville airport. Why do you think that is?
It's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I guess it is sort of, you talked about how, as we design Choose How You Move, we are definitely focused on a fundamentals-based approach. This is, kind of something that is expensive and shiny, and I think there are also a lot of I think there are political implications given sort of the national political backdrop that have it dropping into a pretty charged dynamic.
Yeah. Well, we'll go to the phones. Dennis in Hermitage, you're on with the mayor.
Hey, Dennis.
Mr. Mayor, good afternoon, and thank you for taking my question. It's basically a two-pronged, but it's the same thing. The tunnel. Do they have a permit? Elon Musk, did they have a permit to do that? Second of all, insurance. Are they insured in case something goes whoop-whoop?
Well, Dennis, so let me start here. We don't have a ton of information at this point. So this is a state-led initiative. I'll tell you what we've done. We have kind of gotten two people focused on life safety and operations issues. They've compiled across whole of government a list of several dozen questions that we have submitted to the Boring Company. We're working on a engagement with them to make sure we can get answers to our questions. We think that they and the state are going to be fully cooperative in trying to help us get our questions answered. And we're asking questions exactly like yours. We do think there are going to be some necessary permits. The thing that I know that already has happened was they did go before the State Building Commission, and I think get kind of a rapid access to an underground lease. As far as we can tell, based on the state activity that's occurred, it does seem like they're going to be taking advantage of either state property or operating fully underneath state right-of-way. And so I don't know the answer to the question about insurance, but I'm going to, again, I'm going to hope and assume for now that that will be a proper thing. But that if that's not already on our list of assembled questions, I'll definitely add that to the list.
And Mayor, can you kind of, as you're approaching this, since Metro's kind of been, brought along, but sort of boxed out of some of it, it seems, are you working to make this work well, or do you find yourself kind of working in opposition to this proposed tunnel?
I guess for us, it's I think we're in it's so early and we don't have enough details that I can't even say with confidence that it's almost like it's too soon to have a crisp position on it. If this does anything to relieve congestion or offer another access point to the airport, there's a way in which I can imagine it being something that people see as useful. But I'll just say it this way. We are 100% focused on something we know has broad-based public support, which is Choose How You Move. That included specifically opportunities to get to and from the airport more quickly. And I will say if I have a concern about it right now, it's that I don't want something that is happening below ground to disrupt anything about our efforts to make sure that people can move around the city in fully publicly accessible ways above ground.
Okay. We'll go back to the phones. Beth in Midtown, you're on with Mayor O'Connell.
Yes, thank you, and hello, Mayor McConnell. My concern is around a noise ordinance. I live in Midtown, and I'm used to hearing Pink Pony Club all day, but it stops. At some point around 10, I think those stop.
Yep.
But what I do hear almost every night, but mostly on the weekends, are the hot rods that go up and down Broadway. And they're super, super loud, and they can be 1 or 2 in the morning. And, is there any ordinance for those? Is there anything to be done for people who live Midtown and want to sleep?
Well, Beth, this is a good question. It's an issue I put a lot of time and energy into trying to get more relief in a whole bunch of different ways. Just the issue of noise downtown Midtown area, because I used to represent a big chunk of that footprint while I was on the Metro Council. And so I worked for a long time on improvements to construction noise, had some help from colleagues like Councilmember Colby Sledge, Emily Benedict. We got some, I think the bigger relief we got was in some residential areas, a little bit of relief for downtown residents. Cars, though, I had a downtown resident I worked with for a long time, and it's a tough one because by the time you identify the source of the noise, if you don't have somebody right there ready to respond from one of our enforcement authorities, tracking down the offender is pretty challenging. So we know, for instance, I worked with some residents in the building right across from the Exxon. We know that there's been gathering points for people who are definitely going to be likely to violate noise ordinances. And so in selective ways, if you can identify it in advance, if you can identify people who are sometimes operating in groups, it's similar to the things where we see issues with street racing on larger corridors, sometimes further away from downtown. It's a tough issue to get your arms all the way around, but we have seen a lot of requests for stepping up traffic enforcement. We've tried to increase efficiencies within the Metro Nashville Police Department. Chief Drake has worked systematically to work on some alternative policing solutions that allow for officers to be on the street more. And so we are looking to be engaged in people who are violating ordinances on a more consistent basis. But I know in Midtown, we've had some success with regulatory issues related to the party bus industry and that kind of thing. And so I'm hoping that we can continue to get some focus in these areas where we know the problems are the most pernicious.
Thank you for your call, Beth. Appreciate that. We'll go to Sherwan in Nashville. You're on with Mayor O'Connell.
On the street more, and so we are looking to be engaged in people.
Sherwan, you may have to turn your radio down in the background there.
I know in Midtown.
Sherwan, are you there?
Success with regulatory issues.
The mayor's getting to hear himself back to himself.
That kind of thing.
All right. Well, Sherwan, if we get that worked out, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, just call us back. Turn that radio down if you can.
All right. Vicky in Old Hickory, we're going to come to you. You're on with Mayor O'Connell. This is Nashville.
Hi, thank you. Great. Thank you so much for taking my call. So grateful to be able to speak with the mayor today. I chose you as the winner anyway. Through all your debates, I said he's the one. So
hi, Vicki. Thanks for the call today. Yep.
Absolutely. Praise God. My question is sidewalks, Mayor. I've noticed in different areas I've lived in, Goodlettsville, out that way, there's not sidewalks going down to schools in that area, like Hunters Lane and other schools. Yeah, okay, you know where I'm talking about. And now I'm in and I'm in Old Hickory now, and I've noticed the same things. There are schools, like Summit Hospital. People get off the bus there, go into the hospital. No sidewalks. Stores across the street, Kroger. Schools there again, all down through that area. No sidewalks because people still take the bus far and near, even to hospitals, no sidewalks. So are we still investing in sidewalks? And I'm going to hang up and thank you so much, and God bless you. And thank you for all that you do for our city.
Well, Vicki, thanks so much. Glad to talk to you today. And yeah, we are, I guess the good news for you and everybody else is that after this week's decisive victory for our overall transit improvement program that gives us years of continually being able to invest in infrastructure and transit service, that program alone is going to produce 86 miles of sidewalks across the county, and that's in addition to our standard average. So we're continuing to invest the traditional amount that should keep us at least at an average of 4 to 6 miles of sidewalks a year, plus that new additional 86 miles. And we focus that 86 miles on areas exactly like you're talking about, where transit access leads to places like healthcare centers, like education centers. And so along our major corridors, you're going to see a lot more completion of a sidewalk network that is frequently broken up. Places nearby to that, within just a few blocks of those corridors that are those major places where we know people are trying to walk anyway. So again, you and anybody else can go take a look at that entire program at nashville.gov/transit. But yes, we have doubled down on our investment in sidewalks, and we'll be building more than we ever have over the next several years.
All right, Mayor, we've got a little more than 2 minutes left. Let's see if we can do two.
Let's do it.
One is a comment from the YouTube stream. Thank you, Mark Francisco. Since Southwest Airlines has added more gates, I've noticed more airplane noise over South Nashville. And we've heard this maybe a couple months ago as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully flight paths can vary to mitigate the noise. Any update on airplane noise?
This is a tough one because the airport, while it is a local asset, almost all of the things they do there from an air traffic standpoint have to be FAA approved. We do have a growing airport. It is, over the years, it has meant that you just simply see more flights coming and going. And sometimes, to this listener's point, when specific airlines are adding new routes, I know Southwest has added, I think, even in recent months, flights from here to Memphis, flights to Louisville. So even flights within the region of the Southeast. And so it does mean that you just have more airplanes trying to safely take off and land. And so I will say, from having worked with the leadership team at the airport now for a couple of years, they're absolutely their top priority for access for airplanes out there is safety. And so we do have to kind of allow that interaction to happen with the FAA. And I do think that it is worth, though, being in contact. I mean, they have a feedback system like any other public entity, and I definitely recommend sharing those concerns directly with the airport, and you can find them over at flynashville.com.
All right, thank you. We're going to wrap up with Al in Antioch. You're on with the mayor on This is Nashville.
Oh, hi, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for taking my call, and again, thank you for all you do. I've got a little bit of a different topic. Mine is in regards to adoption, the process here in Tennessee, Middle Tennessee. We came to Middle Tennessee about 4.5 years ago and started the process. And we've gone through numerous people to try to, expedite this and try to get something going. It's a difficult process. What can be done to make it an easier process? There wasn't a lot of follow through on it. Just want to give a young person a possible future as well as expand our family.
No, I really appreciate the fact that you're interested and invested in the process of adoption, first off. So let me say thank you for that. Secondly, let me just ask you, did you start working through a private entity or a public entity to start the adoption process?
Yeah, it was a public.
Do you know, was it a state agency that you got started with?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So my recommendation here is, because the adoption process is governed principally by the state, I would make sure to look up who your state representative is and share your experiences with them. And let me offer this. Feel free to, when you do that, if you send an email, for instance, CC our office. You can just send a note with mayor@nashville.gov, because we do keep track of legislative affairs. And for those things that are kind of at that intersection of state and local, or sometimes federal and local, we do have good state relationships with staff at the state level. And so capture those experiences. Definitely, though, include your state representative and ideally your state senator as well. And you can just go over to capital.tn.gov to look up who those folks are based on your address, and then absolutely share that overall experience with our office, because our legislative affairs team can help make sure that you've got the right departmental contacts, the right legislative contacts, and we'd love to see you be able to safely and happily expand your family.
Al in Antioch, thank you for wrapping us up. You just don't know what's going to come up in Ask the Mayor segments. Mayor Freddie O'Connell needs to see his way out of here. He joins us each month to take your questions. So we'll see you in September.
Blake, thank you so much. Good to be with you again.
All right, we need to take one last break. When we come back, we're going to our shared calendar. Do you have an event in your community you'd like for everybody to know about? Well, now is your chance to share. So call us with those events at 615-760-2000. You can also leave info on an event as a comment on the live stream at youtube.com/@WPLN. Stay with us. This is Nashville.
Funding for This is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. All right, we've now got 15 minutes to share our calendars. You got an event going on in Middle Tennessee in the next week or two. We'd love to hear your pitch for why folks should come. Join us on the air by calling 615-760-2000. You can also leave a comment on the Nashville Public Radio YouTube page where we're streaming video from the studio here. And that's where you will see with us is Sean Witzel, playwright, actor, producer, director, and co-founder of the Shades of Black Theater Festival, which runs September 2nd through 27th at the Dark Horse Theater. That's the theater on Charlotte Avenue, correct? Absolutely. All right. Well, Sean, as I understand, the festival kind of began by accident in 2006. You had 3 Black-led theater companies booked maybe the same venue back to back. So when you all first decided to join forces, what was your mission?
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. I want to give a shout out to Michael L. Walker and Candy Robbins, who are both no longer with us, and also Mary McCallum, who is my co-organizer in this. Those 3 entities, those 3 individuals and their theater companies just happened to book the Dark Horse back to back. And so at that time, I was a part of Michael Walker's Dream 7 Theater Productions. So we got together and decided, let's help each other promote each other's shows. And then it turned into let's add some bells and whistles. Let's add a workshop. Let's add a mixer. And so our mission was really simply just to, that first year, to showcase the work that we were doing, but also invite other people in. And that's a tradition that we've kept since 2006.
So you're talking about a long time period. I mean, almost the full month of September at the Dark Horse, a takeover. How do you all choose the plays and other kind of performances and other artistic elements that are going to be in a festival?
Let me first say that a whole month long festival is super ambitious. I don't know why we.
Well, when I saw the dates, I thought, is it the whole month?
Yeah. I think it's because it happened naturally that first time, and we just kept with that. But we choose the shows and special events just by every year is kind of different. So we don't have any hard concrete rules other than that our theater productions are that's our meat. That's what we want to elevate the most, but then we add the other stuff. So it just depends. Sometimes people just send us a message and we talk to them and decide okay, we'll include this in the festival if it works for our vision. So it varies each year.
Well, you're one of the organizers, but you're also participating. Can you tell us about the production of Buffalo Soldier by Mitch Hill?
Yeah, Buffalo Soldier is a piece that Mitch Hill is a writer who has had a run of this show within in the 90s and the early 2000s. I think his most recent run of the show was about 12 years ago. But he's someone who I think he moved here from LA, and he approached me about doing this show. So last year during the festival, we did a stage reading of it. And this year we're doing the full production. So I'm super excited. I'll be producing and directing that.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So building on something that was in the festival last year as a reading.
We do that quite a lot. We want to give people opportunities. So sometimes there's a development process, and then there's the opportunity to do like the full thing. So.
All right, we're probably going to have time to come back to the Shades of Black Theater Festival that's running for the whole month of September at the Dark Horse Theater. But let's go to the phones. Jessica, you're on This is Nashville. What you got for us to come to?
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Blake. I'm with the Metro Historical Commission, and we just want to spread the word and invite people out to one of our newest historical markers that is going up on Saturday, September the 6th at 11 a.m.
All right, so new historical marker, I assume that means there's some kind of unveiling on that Saturday. What is the mark commemorating?
So the marker will be up on the 700 block of Church Street, where two bookstores used to be located. Any longtime Nashville residents might remember the R.M. Mills bookstore or Zebert's Books and Records. Church Street, of course, was a long-time shopping district in Nashville, and those bookstores both started in the 1890s. And they were located downtown until the 1970s. So we're really excited to celebrate with both families and all former employees and just celebrate that part of Nashville's history.
Sean, I'm not familiar with those bookstores or the history of it. Would you have known?
I had no idea.
Okay, yeah, so those names were new to me, and I grew up here. But what's the significance of the bookstores? Is it just that they were well known back in the day?
Yeah, absolutely. So in addition to Church Street sort of being that, hub of shopping and entertainment, Nashville was really sort of building its reputation, both as the Athens of the South. We have all of these universities across the city, but there were, a lot of writers who lived here. There were, movie theaters, movie premieres that would take place here. So these were just really part of sort of the cultural zeitgeist of downtown Nashville and making it, a well-known literary hub in the South.
All right. Saturday, September the 6th, unveiling of a new marker there in front of the Thompson Federal Building on Church Street. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Reverend McIntyre, you're on This is Nashville.
Hi, thanks for having me. How are you this afternoon?
Doing all right. Good to hear from you. What you got for us?
Thanks so much. Yeah, I'm just calling on behalf of NOAA, which is Nashville Organized for Action and Hope.
You're getting a thumbs up from Sean over here.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks, Sean. We have a Voices of the Faithful rally happening on August 17th from about 3 to 4:30 p.m. at Richland Park this Sunday.
All right, this Sunday, and who are you looking for to come out?
Well, really, we're trying to activate the faith community, but obviously, any supporters of folks who are as disturbed as we are with the rise in anti-immigrant policy actions federally, from the federal and state level. So just want to join together and say we are standing in solidarity with our neighbors. There'll probably be a little bit of singing, a little bit of shouting, and some comments from faith leaders across the city.
All right, Reverend McIntyre, appreciate that. Sean, why are you a NOAA supporter? Just been to some of the events, or what?
I've been a volunteer. I was a volunteer with NOAA for several years, and on tomorrow I start a new job with NOAA. So
is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've got a playwright on staff now. Congratulations to NOAA. Let's see. We've got Kristen in Nashville. You're on the show. This is Nashville. What kind of events should we be coming to soon?
Hi, yes, we have Barks on Broadway at 5th and Broadway, right downtown Nashville. It's a free family and pet-friendly event featuring dog adoptions with wags and walks, a lot of local pet-friendly vendors, of course, treats for everyone's pups, a custom dog bandana bar, caricature art, live music, and activities.
Wait, Kristen, in the madness of Lower Broadway, you all are going to be adopting out dogs?
Well, if you've been to Fifth and Broadway, we're a little bit more contained than just the madness on Broadway. So we have a little bit more of a controlled space for everybody to bring their pups. We see a lot of dogs with just people moving to the downtown area and going on walks in the morning. So we wanted to create an event that gives people a reason to bring their pups downtown because they want to experience Broadway too. And we've got lots of vendors, and our retailers at Fifth and Broadway will be providing discounts and, of course, pup cups and treats and things like that.
Where's the closest place to Fifth and Broadway for a dog to use the bathroom?
So we will have dog pee pads on site.
Oh, wow.
But there's also a dog park across the street, actually part of Bridgestone Arena.
All right. Well, Kristen, good luck with the event. That's on, correct me if I'm wrong, Saturday, September 13th?
That's correct.
All right,
Thank you for plugging the date.
All right, Barks on Broadway. Listen, this is from an email. The Nashville Shakespeare Festival, Summer Shakespeare, which is the Bard's classic comedy, The Merry Wives of Windsor. That's running August 21st through September 21st. So a whole month of Shakespeare at the Yard at One City. And one more item from today's What Where Wednesday. Every Wednesday, Nashville Public Radio's Marquise Munson compiles community events. This week he featured Artsy Fartsy, happening tomorrow at Brooklyn Bowl. The semi-annual event started by Nashvilleian Morgan Allen began in her front yard in 2022 with 3 bands and 3 vendors. After her landlord threatened to evict her if she did it again, she expanded to venues all across Nashville. Each Artsy Fartsy event aims to raise funds for local charities while also featuring live music performances designed to ensure that all people have the opportunity to share their talents in a welcoming and accessible space. That's Artsy Fartsy tomorrow at the Brooklyn Bowl. And if you don't catch What Where Wednesday, there are many places at WPLN.org or our sister station WNXP to catch that. Let's do one more, and then I'm going to come back to Sean from an email. History Sings. In a vote of her own, a new musical brings the drama of women's suffrage to life this August in Nashville. It's debuting just near us here in Metro Center, where our studios are, the Z. Alexander Luby Theater, and that is this Friday, August 15th, and Saturday, August 16th. Do you know anything about that show, Sean?
I don't.
Yeah,
it sounds interesting.
All right, it's called A Vote of Her Own, a new musical that brings the drama of women's suffrage to life, and that's at the Luby Theater. It's all weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thank you for submitting those. A couple minutes left to return to Shades of Black Theater Festival. We kind of got a little bit of the history that you all, kind of just booked back-to-back events there at the Dark Horse Theater where this is going to be, and then came to join forces. But I wonder what it is you're, trying to achieve with the festival. I mean, is there a point of view, or is it just bringing art together and hoping something magical happens?
Yeah, it's exposing the community to art from different types of voices. We are very intentional about elevating the voices of Black playwrights, particularly, just because we feel like those sometimes voices have gone historically unheard, or like not enough stories have been told. So that's part of our mission. But it's broader than that. Like, we're a very inclusive theater festival. We want to bring the community together to build community and to experience great art.
All right, so you've got your own production that you're going to be putting on there, which
couple of them.
Oh, more than one. What? I didn't realize that you were. Yeah, you got a lot to do in the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's always September is pretty crazy for me. There's a show called Within Reach that I just did at the Kindling Arts Festival, and we're doing an encore performance for the Shades of Black Festival. It's written by people who have been impacted by incarceration.
How did this? It was so you debuted it at the Kindling Arts Festival, which was 2 weeks ago or so. How did it play in front of the crowd?
It was great. We had writers who are currently incarcerated, some formerly, and then one writer who was never incarcerated but has a close family member that was, and so a lot of great community support. The show, I was proud of how it came together. It was very moving, and people wanted more, and we're going to give them one more show.
All right. Well, the One More Show, what, do you know off the top of your head what day that is in the month of September?
That's going to be Sunday, September 7th at 3 p.m. It's a matinee show.
All right. So Dark Horse Theater is wall-to-wall Shades of Black Theater Festival through almost the entire month of September. Sean Witzel, producer, director, actor, co-founder of the festival, thank you for joining us on this Share Your Calendar moment.
Hey, thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. Join us tomorrow for our weekly roundabout, where we talk about the biggest news of the week and offer perspective from our panel that spans left, right, and center. We've got former mayoral candidate and school board chair David Fox, former council member Fabian Bedney, and Dr. Kara Robinson from TSU. Same time, same place. Also streaming on YouTube tomorrow. If you care to subscribe to the Nashville Public Radio YouTube channel, you can join us here in the studio. Thanks for tuning in this hour. This is Nashville's a production of Nashville Public Radio. Today's episode was produced by Mary Mancini, directed by Tasha A.F. Limley. Josh Deepen was working hard answering the phones today and probably making us look good on camera over there, too. Our board operator is Liv Lombardi. Masterminds behind that theme music are Larange and Namir Blade. Listen back at thisisnashville.org or wherever you get good podcasts. I'll say it again. If you're not a big podcast person, you can also just ask your smart speaker to play the latest episode of This Is Nashville. Very easy way to enjoy the show on your own schedule. Conversation doesn't have to end here. You can comment, tell us what you want to hear on the show by leaving us a message at 615-751-2500. You can also find us on Blue Sky and Instagram and X at This Is Nashville. This is Nashville. I'm Blake Farmer. Go in peace.